Okay, so welcome into another episode of Supercharged Life. Today I've brought my better half, as people say.
People say.
Because that's the best thing to say when you're talking about.
You mean I am?
I mean, yeah, that's a great start to the relationship. But, you know, I've brought Sarah with me today because, quite simply, there are things that we teach, especially inside LMX, where we're talking about relationship stuff, and a lot of the stuff I teach is down to my experience with my relationship and experience in life and all the other bits we do. So today I want to walk you through 5 ways to supercharge your relationship. And we're talking about real life things here, and I get a crazy response from being real and showing the actual, being transparent and showing the truth, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are not really showing their true selves, and I know it's a place where you'll find that people won't relate as much, and they also won't find themselves move forward as fast because they always feel like they're too far away from that type of person. So I want to be as real as possible. But let's get straight into it because Sarah's got a meeting. But what we're going to look at then is quite simply, the reason I'm mentioning this, first of all, I have got notes because I will not remember this sort of stuff. But so when we look at sort of like the position that we found ourselves in a couple of years ago, where we were grinding away, I'd been in business for over 10 years, and Sarah had shifted from a corporate sort of position, and went self-employed. Going self-employed is very, very stressful. There's a lot of doubt, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of don't do it in your head. Mm-hmm. But also a lot of pain, I guess, of where you was at to what to then drive you forward to want to do more of it.
Yeah.
But when we look at sort of like where we were before, it was all around like we were focused on our own journey. We were ultimately being selfish because we were thinking about ourselves.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of friction between us because of it. A lot of relationships. A lot of relationships where people say they don't argue. I don't believe it, because everybody argues to a degree, to a point. It depends how little or much it is. And there's always going to be points where you just disagree with people. But we were finding ourselves with a lot of friction, weren't we?
Yeah. And I think our life had changed a lot. So we had Leo was 6 months when we went through COVID. And then after COVID is when I started my business and stuff. So in that period, we'd had a baby. We'd been through COVID and crisis, and then actually starting to start again, but actually we hadn't adapted our life through that. We were still trying to live how we were before. We were still trying to do everything that we were before. And we hadn't kind of adapted through it and almost like learnt the next stage of our relationship.
But forced through it. But during that, obviously things happened. Like we were drifting apart, and we were feeling like we were looking at different things rather than focus on the same thing. Yeah,
and we're more aligned with that now, aren't we? I think before, when probably you were heavily into strongman and I was like running the house a lot more, like things weren't very balanced. So I was feeling quite like I was taking everything on and neglected, and like I had the hardship of the relationship, but then you were also feeling like that as well. But on the other side.
But that's where it's hard, because when you're selfishly thinking and you're thinking about your own struggles, your own life, your own journey, it really is like they say, when people say they have the blinkers on. You had your blinkers on. My thing was, I was trying to save my business. I was trying to do something new, which was shit, really, because it was like coaching people online on Zoom, and I was doing workouts in the garden. But then also you was able to just have complete tools down with your work, which then made me think that, okay, you just do the house and I'll do the business. Which it worked at the time, and obviously that's how it had to be, I guess. But then at the same time, when you then started your business, it was then you needed to be heard and seen to be, hold on a minute, I'm actually starting a venture here. And that's where I needed to help you.
Yeah. And I think I hope you don't mind me saying, you were still trying to live your life, because obviously you had nearly 50-50 before we had Leo. So it's pretty much like, you have that free time. But then when we had a full-time child, you were still trying to live your life like normal, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like still the hours of training, the long days at work, all of the extra stuff.
It's mad when you think like COVID, when we had a baby in COVID, like he's a COVID baby. It's
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
yeah. But again, like you go back to days where he was literally running around.
Yeah.
We were locked in. We were, because obviously we were, trying to listen to the freaky news that was going on. We didn't go out of the house and we're locked in one room, weren't we? At one point, where it was just like we was all feeling ill.
Yeah. When we had COVID,
Yeah.
and Leo
And then he was running around, jumping on tables, and that was
barricaded the doors.
that was the first time he was walking, wasn't it? Let alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was crazy. But there was so much. I don't want to say bad, but I'll just use that word. But there was so much bad of feeling disconnected, drifting apart, low, not feeling like we're going down the same journey or anything.
Yeah. And I think that like snowballed, didn't it? Because we went for a period of like, just carry on, just carry on, just carry on. And actually my personality and your personalities are quite different. So you're like the dominant person in our relationship, and I kind of lost myself. Whereas like the last 12 months has been like the real like, no, that can't continue. And I think part of that happens when you become a new mum and all of those things. But actually it was very like, this can't carry on anymore.
And obviously again for people listening, like it's when you was going through all this, I wasn't aware that I was overpowering and all right, I know I'm a dominant person, but as in like I didn't realize what it was doing to you until you then broke down. And then we had relationship counseling, which is something that we went through, which we did it just literally to have a middle ground, I guess.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things that that was I guess coming to light, but that had always been happening, but it wasn't that clear.
Yeah. And when tensions are so high, like we weren't communicating how we can communicate now, because everything was like an argument, because it was like, you did this, you did that, and you try and talk to me about something and I'm turning it around on you. And so we needed that mediation.
Yeah, yeah. Which, like fair play to them, what they did. It's not, I wouldn't say it completely changed our life, but it gave us that time to just settle, didn't it? And like think about things and be a bit more open and honest without feeling like it was just an attack all the time.
Yeah.
But I think the main thing that I took out of that was the fact that you had lost yourself. And because the thing is, something that I was attracted to you about when we first met is the fact that you was independent. And yet I didn't realise I took your independence off you by being that dominant person,
Yeah.
an overpowering person, that then left you to do how I ran my life rather than doing what you wanted to do.
Yeah. And you don't adapt very well to change. So when life needs to change, you find that quite difficult. Like our routine changes and all of those things. If I'm trying to add things in, like you could be like, I'm going to do this on Thursday morning. I'm like, cool. If I say that, you're like,
Yeah.
I need notice.
Yeah. Like that. So when we move on to the good, then I put this as the good, the bad, and the bad, the good, and the fix, right? So when we think about the good side of things, so right now, honestly speaking, we have especially the last couple of weeks, and I'm doing this on a high right now because the last couple of weeks have been insane, haven't they? Really, for like work-life balance. I mean, the first thing I've got here is we've got a very, very good work-life balance now. It's always being improved. It's always being worked on because it's never completely fixed. I mean, one of the things I'm doing right now, which I've not done for probably about 10 years since I started personal training, is to get a work phone. And it's something that sounds so simple, so little, but actually I've decided to do it because I am on my phone too much. I'm not good at not responding to people that need my help. Yeah. So actually, if I section that at time, but they're all the work-life balance stuff, aren't they? It's having that thing to be like, that is the thing we're going to put in place to help that. Your work-life balance, how's that improved over the last, say 6 months since we've been working on it mainly?
Yeah, it's funny to say, isn't it? Because when we did like the whole 5 Flames, mine was that actually my business was lower than like my family and my fun and all of those bits. So actually my work-life balance was actually to make sure I'm getting more time to work than actually being the home mum and everything else. So I think
but again, that reflects onto the position before, right, where it was more about my work rather than your work. You was more about the family.
Yeah.
But my family were the weaker area, so I've had to improve my family, and you've had to improve your work to
balance
then get that balance.
Yeah.
But that's the important thing, right, for people. And again, I'm trying to make this for other people to listen to, and hopefully they can relate to it. I'm a very obsessive person, and I become obsessed on whatever I do. Because work is such a big area, I become obsessed on that. If I wasn't careful, I'd probably get obsessed with having time off and then have too much time off. So that's my worry of...
I don't think so.
Don't know, maybe.
Never.
But, but either way, though, it's that obsession of something, isn't it? So if as long as you're channeling it into the right thing, but again, analysing it and seeing where you're at, so to see what you need to work on.
Yeah, it's hard getting that balance as well, because obviously sometimes I feel like I'm making you have time off to come and spend time with us. And it's not that you don't want to spend time with us, but it's just you feel so overwhelmed with everything that you're doing.
That you need that.
Yeah, you need that balance to be able to then go back to work and see things properly.
Yeah. I've got here more fun and appreciate downtime. That's more me than you. However, you know, what for me to do that is like what you said there. Have more fun and downtime. I think across the globe, when I speak to people, they don't have enough fun. People don't have enough fun. They don't know what they do to have fun. They just have downtime. But actually, I can't have downtime. I need to have fun time instead of down. And that, you know, for people just to understand is that because I need some stimulation, not no stimulation.
Yeah.
So if I have no stimulation, I feel low.
Yeah.
And I feel low in energy and I don't want to do anything. Whereas if I have stimulation, but in a fun way, that is my downtime. But whereas you like complete downtime and doing nothing.
Netflix.
But that's the thing. Again, that's something we learned between each other. So I used to be depressed and think Sarah's lazy if she does that. And if I hang around with her, I was feeling depressed. But actually, that's you recharging. Whereas for me to recharge, I'm doing something like, obviously recently, the van stuff, like doing things like that. But yeah, that was a huge learn, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
We got more money. That's something I wrote down because quite simply, from us being more focused, being more driven, having a better work-life balance and being more on top of what we need to do, we have both earned more money because we're able to be happier and push harder, which is a huge part, isn't it? It's been like, I don't want to be cliche when I say it, but it's working smarter.
Yeah, and that structure's definitely helped, hasn't it?
Yeah. Sarah doesn't like to talk about money. She doesn't like making out she's making money, although she's in business. And then obviously the last one I put here then for the better is the better time with the kids. So, you know, more focused time with the kids doing things that we enjoy and value to do. And it really is the most simple stuff sometimes. I mean, you know, bless the kids. We look for a bear most weeks and we never found one.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's that whole like having time with them, spending more time with them to do more so that they just appreciate being with you.
Yeah.
You know, I will completely hold my hands up and say often I buy things for the kids because I think that, you know, because when I wasn't there as much, I bought things for them when actually they don't care if you buy things for them.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be great to do as a test one day, wouldn't it? Like to buy them loads of £1 things and see how happy they are and then buy them £100 item and again, just to test it. Kids don't care.
It's that cardboard box thing though, isn't it? Like they take the toy out and then they use the cardboard box. Yeah. But you literally, and you never go to Tesco really, but every time you do go to Tesco, especially if you're with the kids, you come back with like a ridiculous present.
Yeah, it was on offer.
Yeah. But on that, obviously it's our big thing and our vision to make sure that the kids are having focused time and they're having all the experiences and all of that. And that doesn't always mean like grand gestures. It means that we're present with them and we're doing stuff with them as well as like all the big experiences as well. And actually, if we didn't put the structures in place, it's like 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. And before we know it, we've not done the things that we wanted to do.
And they're not routined or structured with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we'll go through now then are the 5 things that you can hopefully learn from what we've learnt and what we've implemented to really improve our relationship. So when we look at, like, number 1, for example, is to treat a relationship like a business. Now, that's going to sound really, I don't know, really sucky to say that. And it's not to say to treat it like a business as in we're transactional, we don't, have anything else other than that. But the reason that we thought about this is because treating a relationship like a business in the respect of like nurturing it and having understanding there's ups and there's downs and there's needs to be met, isn't it?
Yeah. And giving it the respect and time that it deserves. So we're not on a hamster wheel, and actually, like, that's where all the planning and everything, 'cause we plan.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you think about, and again, just to make this very clear, what we're saying about the business is when you start a business, there's lots you need to do at the start. Then you need to put certain things in place. Then you need to delegate things out and keep things momentum moving. And all these things you've got to do, and you've got to keep marketing, you've got to keep talking about it, and you've got to keep improving the systems. Now, look at that in a relationship. Again, at the start of a relationship, there's lots that you do at the start because you're excited, it's new and everything else. Things start to go, let's say, to a normal stage. And I'd probably say at that point, people think it plateaus, but it doesn't have to, does it? But then it's about making sure that you're putting enough things in to keep that spark, to keep that focus, to reconnect and stay connected, and to stay on the same path together, so that it then becomes a flowing sort of feeling that you're in a relationship together rather than it's one-sided.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's easy to be like, oh, well, we've got the house now, we've got the kid, we're going to get married. It's like, what else are we going to do? But actually, it's all like the nurturing, and it's forever green, isn't it? Because the vision changes, and it's not just tick, 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 we're done. Yeah. We just carry on now.
Yeah. But that's that thing where it's about the nurturing. I think that's a great word to use, isn't it? Like you're constantly nurturing your relationship.
Yeah.
Number two then is to plan periods of like listening to each other. So I wasn't listening to Sarah enough, and you wasn't listening to me enough, really. You probably listened to me too much then.
Yeah.
One of the two. But the thing is, you're a giver. And I was constantly leaning on you for what I needed.
Yeah. But
because you don't speak out much and you get on with it, then I went into that. That's how we live our life. But actually, I needed to learn. And that, like I say, when Sarah, broke down and told me these things, that's when it became more important and understand that she needed to be heard. So I needed to listen. I think many blokes try to fix things when and that's something that we went through, wasn't it? In our counselling. Like, whenever you told me something, I would try and fix it rather than listen to you. But actually, I've learned to get better at it, not completely, but listen more than just think I've got to fix things.
I say that I'm like, I'm not your client, because sometimes you go straight into like, well, have you been doing this? And have you? It's like, I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
I want you to listen.
But that's hard as a bloke, because and I think most blokes that listen to this will realise that same thing, that you do try and be like, okay, but you're telling me because you need a solution. Yeah. And actually they're not. Sometimes they just need to be listened.
Yeah. And it's actually funny on the flip side, because I go, well, just give yourself some downtime or have a day off.
And then I say, you don't care.
Yeah, and you go, can't do that, don't need to do that. Actually, you want me to fix it, but I don't want you to fix mine.
Yeah. But I've never read it, but that's that book, isn't it? Women from Venus, Men Are From Mars, something like that. Apparently it's a good book, so read it. But the other one is then, and within the planning periods, is like the vision. So a good few times we've had some points where we've sat down and we've walked out on fire, and literally whenever it was, last Tuesday was one of them where we both had a bit of a shit few days. A couple of things hitting us in different angles. We went for breakfast and did a big planning session and focused on our vision. But remember this, what I'm saying about your vision. It's your vision. It's not focusing on the shit things. You might want to talk about certain things, but you've got to focus on your vision, because that's the thing that you're then attracting yourself to remind you where your journey is. But when you connect that together, it is just gold, isn't it? Like, yeah. Because your visions have to. The thing is, I'm sure everyone knows that's listening to this area, but I'm in the mentoring space, in the fitness space, and working with people on their life, their business, their training, their body and mind. But whereas Sarah's on the side of property investment, and it's a completely different area of expertise and skills, but we have to make sure they align somehow.
Yeah. And it's the end goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
So our end goal is still the same, like the house, the holidays, the place abroad. Like we're both working for the end goal, aren't we? And I think it came apparent because last week we did both like boil over in terms of like everything felt too much, but that's because we hadn't given our meetings enough time and credit 'cause we missed a couple.
Yeah.
So actually then life boiled over because I go into mum mode where it's like I just do it all rather than actually separating the work like we normally do, like weekly. And it just all boils up, doesn't it?
Yeah. But that just proves, doesn't it? Because that day onwards, it then felt great again.
Yeah.
So yeah, perfect. But then the other one, then obviously the plan periods, then is the kids and the weekly tasks. So again, it is really important to have, use your diary. If you don't use your diary, you are old-fashioned, right? You need to share a diary. We've done this for years anyway, so it's nothing new. But it's making sure that you take that for what it is and actually work around that together. Plan your week to say, right, what's happening with the kids this week? Where are they going? What clubs have they got? Who's got them? If they're off, where are they? Blah blah blah. And then obviously the weekly tasks, just generally, like if you're away for a day or I'm away for a day, what's happening? What changes are happening? And arrange them rather than letting them get down to the last minute.
Yeah.
Number 3 then is to plan time off. So obviously a huge one. We've slightly touched on it already anyway. I'm super shit at planning time off because I do things last minute, and I also don't think I need time off until I need time off. But then it's hard to then have time off because you're then overworked and overstressed. You like having time off?
But I like having organised time off.
Correct. So it's getting that balance between the two.
Do you remember that time when I literally was driving back from the gym at 9 o'clock and you were like, oh, I've booked us all to go to London. The train's at 10:10. I was like, okay, feels like he's done a really nice thing. So I'm going to not be stressed. But it's like, right, okay.
Is that when we went to London with the kids? Yeah. Can't remember.
I was literally like sweating and I had half an hour turnaround to get out and go and spend the day in London.
We had a good day. Yeah, but the thing is, I love sporadic stuff like that. I can't remember it being that sporadic. I think she's made that real. But as well, I like doing that. So I think it's good to have those parts where we do that and have the ability to do that. But at the same time, planning it. Something that we've done now, which has been a game changer, is the yearly break planner that I've designed, where all you're doing is, by all means, message me if you want me to send you this. I'll send it you. But this is basically a year planner of all the big holidays you have in, the small holidays you have in, the 1 days off you have in, the down periods throughout the week you have in. It's just breaking it down so you can do it together and 1, be excited, 2, be energized because you know when your next one is, but 3, be organized. It's just to make sure that it's there and it's in place. And then the thing is that's really important there is to have the monthly catch up. Ours is today.
Yeah. Later.
Yeah. So actually, ironically, as we film this today, our monthly catch up, and it's having a monthly catch up. What we do there is we look at we're away this Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah tested me yesterday and said where we're going. And I was like, I don't know. But we're away this Thursday, for example. So tonight we're going to look at that, and obviously we're already booked. That's already sorted anyway, I hope. But then we'll look at the next one, right? And then go, right, when is that? What do we need to do for it? And then work through the rest of the stuff. And again, having that, it re-energizes you, it focuses you, it brings you energy because you are focused on that next downtime, and that enjoyment factor.
And it feels like you're doing it together because I'm sure in every relationship there's one person that's the booker and all of that, and the other person on that meme just rocks up. Not.
We need to put that on here.
Yeah.
George, put that on here. Make sure you remember.
So then it makes you feel like you're taking on all of that stuff, and that other person, do they want to come? Are they not bothered about coming? Are they even involved in it?
That's a crazy thing, right? So just to elaborate on that, you do all the booking, I go, Sarah does all the booking, so it's okay. I think you enjoy it because you do it and you just crack on with it. You think I don't want to go because you're doing all the booking, but we didn't talk about that, did we?
Yeah.
So then you started to not invite me on holiday, and then I realised...
Well, you used to be like, why are you sending me 17 links when I'm working? And I'm like, as if you don't reply to people when you're working.
But here's the thing, right? And this was a learn from us. Sending me 17 links overwhelmed me, and I just said yes to the first one. But what we decided to do, and again, it sounds like very business related, but this is how we work. I said to Sarah, now choose 3 out of all of the ones that you think, then I will help her pick one of them. Now, the reason that is, one, because 17 overwhelms me and I don't know where to start or think or anything. And I don't have that much of I don't value looking at that enough. I'd rather just pick somewhere and turn up, and if it's shit, pay more. But when we pick 3 like that, I then pick the one out of 3, so that then, I'm talking for you here, but Sarah then doesn't feel like she's held fully accountable if it's not the best place.
Yeah.
Is that what you...
Yeah. It's involvement. Yeah. It's not just like...
But if we turn up and it's a complete shit show, it's my fault then.
Yeah.
Hotels shut down, it was a fake. But yeah, but they're them little things, right? And I think they're, again, things to think about. Last 2 then, we're going to be quick with this. Support each other in their goals and milestones and the end vision. So that's huge, isn't it? Like, to understand that you're focused on the same stuff, and we're able to get there together.
Yeah.
The little things you want to achieve in your business, let me help you, and again, you help me with mine.
Yeah. As well as training and nutrition and all of those things that we try and do. I think sometimes it's harder because our businesses are so different. It's hard to have equal focus on both. But then sometimes it's like the peaks and the troughs, isn't it, of when you're busy, when I'm busy, and supporting each other on it.
Yeah. And that's obviously a huge one when it comes to communication, because if we don't communicate, we're not going to get to the bottom of that. We're not going to understand it, and then we're not going to be able to then apply that vision in process for both of us. And then the last one then is to learn and understand each other and meet in the middle. So again, once we've spoke about things, once we understand those things, meet in the middle.
Yeah.
It goes down to a lot of the whole fact that that we're like different types of characters. And we are made a different way, is the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
What's the neurotypical and
neurodiverse?
Obviously for the guys who know, like, I was diagnosed with ADHD a couple of years back now, and it changed the way that we are with each other completely.
That's actually when, like, everything peaked, really, wasn't it? Like, when everything got highlighted almost. I don't know why, but it's almost like you finding out about that is like, oh, well, that's why I take everything on. That's why I'm there. Do you know what I mean? And that's when it all peaked.
Yeah.
But now we laugh about it a lot more, don't we? Like
no,
yesterday.
Of course. But it's having that understanding, and that forced us to understand more about each other, but actually forced us to do the things that I don't want to say should do anyway, but it was a reason behind it. But they're the stuff that we needed to do, that we weren't aware that we needed to do so deeply. And it helped us understand more about each other, so we could start to be the more supportive person to each other that we both need.
Yeah. And I think this kind of format and setup would help any relationship, because there's always one party that gives more. And I don't mean like gives more as in loves more or anything like that, but actually there's always one person that's holding down the fort at home. This format will help any relationship, because there's always one person at home, whether you're neurodiverse or not, that is holding down the fort at home. So there's always one person that feels more undervalued, and feeling like one person's going out to work, still getting to do what they want to do, and this person's like still trying to work, hold down the home and everything.
I mean, obviously, not to make this all about this, but just to go into the depth for people to understand, me finding that out, or us finding that out, was obviously a pivotal moment of our lives to be able to make or break, let's be honest, because it did break us before it made us. But then at the same time, it's something that, obviously, we're looking back now, it's a blessing that we ever looked into that sort of stuff. Although the struggles were really hard at the start, there was a lot of me doubting myself because I've found out something that actually didn't matter, but it still means something because you're told it. So, but then I did that whole, without knowing I was doing it, like reflecting on my whole life, thinking, no, I'm a bad person because this, and this, all these different things.
Bit self-destruct, didn't you?
Yeah. But then obviously for you, it was hard because I guess you were trying to like stay on track with what we're doing, but also understand circumstances, right?
Yeah. It felt a bit like we've lived with it this far, and now it feels like it's got worse.
Yeah.
But obviously now we're out the other side, and it's actually 100 times better. And actually finding out wasn't any different, because we went there because we knew that's probably what it was.
Mm. Yeah.
So actually, like, the fact it was a roller coaster after was a bit, probably should have expected it, but it was a bit of a wild card, wasn't it?
But when you speak to, obviously when we spoke to my therapist, that's always a normal thing, right? Because you find it out at that point, and then you've got all these different thoughts. But anyway, like, the only reason I say that sort of stuff is because, quite simply, it's something that was a blessing. It is a blessing when we look back at it. But it has, and I always say this about, like, when you think about, like, the success leaves clues, that success of us overcoming what we overcome, there's a lot of clues that's been left behind of things that would hopefully help other people, like you say, neurodiverse or not. They're things that, and hopefully from these 5 areas that we've broke down, hopefully you can take some things away for your relationship and think about for yourselves, because quite simply, all these things leave clues, and they're all things that a lot of people typically struggle with, but also are things that are 100% in your reach if you put the time and effort into work on them, as opposed to just grinding through life thinking that things will get better.
I think people will think you're crazy, like you have a meeting with your partner to plan your week and plan your holidays and all of that, but actually, I mean, we say it's a meeting, we go meet at a coffee shop,
just
and
business.
like like we have a catch up and just things that you don't normally get to do because you're running around having breakfast and shouting at the kids.
Yeah, but it's true, right? Because we were out that area. That's why often we won't even do it in here, like in the podcast room or in the office at home or anything, because it's like, well, that's our own area. We want to go somewhere out, so it's completely different. So yeah, but guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it.
To get Sarah on the podcast is quite hard, so I'm about to pay a lot of money for this. But no, like, I talk about these things because I'm so passionate about what this has done for us and what it's doing to people inside LMX. So if you could take anything away from that and utilize it, do. And as always, let me know how you get on with it, and share some good spirits from listening to this sort of stuff. But as always, please, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channels, and drop a comment let me know how today's was for your ears and the stuff that you took in, and for your mind. And yeah, any feedback is welcome, but please keep sharing, and big love to everybody that's following us. Peace out.
Peace out.